Hey smokers, Draga1 here. I actually messed up this video when I first recorded it for some reason. Open Broadcaster, even though it showed the VU meters moving with my voice, it decided not to put the microphone audio track into the video. So unless I can come up with that out of nowhere, this is pretty much all we have to deal with. A little while ago I did a video called setting up the Mac Minis for something or other, and I had a problem with my mic, and I ended up doing sort of a post narration. And some of you weren't a real big fan of that, and to be honest, I really wasn't either. But this is really all we have right now. There is absolutely no microphone footage whatsoever. So let's just go ahead and get started here. Basically, what I try to do in this video is to sort of see if Office 97 is feasible to use on Windows 10. Now, as you can see, you can still get Office 97 on WinWorld PC for no charge. Microsoft doesn't give a crap about it, and as you can see on the right there, they brazenly give away the serials, and it just works. This is actually one for some of you, if you care. Good reason to follow me on Twitter. I actually polled some of you a couple of days ago to ask whether or not I should reshoot this video or just commentate over it. You guys voted overwhelmingly in favor of me just doing a voiceover of it. So if you happen to have Twitter on your phone or something and you have a quick second to answer a poll for some of these things, you might have some sort of input into how some of my videos are made. Of course, this is pretty rare, but, it is something if you're interested. But let's go ahead and jump into this and get started. So here is the CD contents. I just pretty much double-clicked on the ISO file I downloaded, and this is what I'm greeted with. So, again, Windows 10, these are all, files on the disk from 1996, as you can see, and just double-clicking on them does get you in. Did a little bit of editing there just to show you it going right to the installer, but here it is. So I'm currently using a theme for Windows 10, which has makes it look like it's kind of running in an older operating system. So it kind of matches this pretty well, I think. Again, the serial number is apparently just free to use. Microsoft doesn't seem to be pitching a fit. There were other pieces of software on WinWorld PC that were newer versions of Word that got DMCA'd. So, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and install this on my main hard drive. Just no problem there. Just install it like I would regular copy of Word. But this is where the point in the video where I get pretty crazy. I actually go through each and every one of these, and sometimes I actually look up what it is. So basically what I'm doing is, yeah, so I had to look up what Microsoft Binder was. Yeah. So I go through each one of these little thingies here and sort of figure out whether or not I need it. Now, again, this is going into my main computer's registry. It's going to make registry rights, so I don't really want that much junk on here. I have enough junk on my main computer as is, so I really wanted the absolute minimum amount of stuff on here. So I do this for a while. In fact, it takes longer for me to checkbox all of these than it does to actually install Office. There's some weird stuff that I'm not quite sure why it was omitted. There's like text converters, stuff that, a lot of times it's like 4K. Why would you not want to install that? I mean, I guess if you only have like a 30 megabyte drive, you gotta really conserve the space and only get what you absolutely need. I, of course, want as many templates as possible for testing. And so I go right ahead and start installing. It's a pretty quick process, and you can see the cool looking Office 97 logo. Again, it's pretty amazing that it's 20-year-old software, more than 20-year-old software, is able to install like this. It shows you that the backwards compatibility of Windows 10 is no joke. It's pretty good. I really like that about the Windows platform. It's something you would never see on Mac. Back in 1996 and 1997 on the Mac platform, you were in Classic. Simple as that. And you can't run any Classic apps whatsoever today unless you have Sheep Shaver, and I have a video about that. So, setup completed. Then I go ahead and launch up Word. This is Microsoft Word here. And at first it looks like, oh wait, this looks like WordPad. This doesn't really look like, something that I'd want to use. It's crap. But then you put it into the page view, and it looks like Word has looked for ages. And it works. So here it's me typing as I'm talking. So this is actually what I was saying. If the audio was there, yeah, it does actually autocorrect while you type, which is, pretty good for 20-year-old software. You can hear a couple sound effects here just because Clippy actually does make some sound, and it did pick up the sound effects. Didn't pick up my voice, but it picked up the fucking Clippy. Anyway, so I'm going to be typing here a little bit, just making some mistakes to see if I can test out the spell checker. You want to know why everyone doesn't like Clippy? I mean, I didn't really think about it. I guess because he's annoying. I mean, look at this. He's making sound when I can't make sound. And he makes sound when you're proofreading. That's kind of dumb. But you can, of course, close him and then he's gone forever. But the reason why I think everybody hates him is because he's based on some of the characters that were in Microsoft Bob. In fact, I think he was in Microsoft Bob. I can't remember. But we all know how that turned out. Yeah, not very good. So here's PowerPoint, and just doing a really quick test here. I'm actually making a test project for each of the 3 major pillars of Office. And the reason for that is so I can make something that, looks like something, so that I can try to re-import it in other pieces of software, such as LibreOffice. How does it look in LibreOffice? And so we look at that a little bit later, but first I need to create the documents first. Right now I'm just seeing how well the pieces of software perform, and it looks like it's pretty decent. It looks like it's performing as good as it did back in the 90s. So that's pretty good. Nothing really to write home about. I mean, it's pretty bland, it's pretty boring, but man, it's kind of exciting at the same time, for me anyway. And then fucking Clippy bothering you about Excel. What the fuck is going on? Okay, there it is. So here we got Excel, and I'm not really big with the formulas, but if I ever do want to make a spreadsheet, I'm definitely going to use this. There are some commands to add up columns and do math, but I largely forgot how to do that. It's one area of expertise that I just totally lack. Yeah, I was messing around with this a little bit, and I think it's got some sort of a bug. Like, every single time I do a sum of this, it, like, always adds up to, like, -666 for some reason, and, yeah, the program... Whoa. What? What the fuck? The fuck? Okay, I don't remember this recording this. What? So yeah, so since I don't have any really good working knowledge or really a reason to use Excel at this point in time, I just revert to the thing I usually do when I use Excel, and you're looking at it right now. Seems to be a little bit of a graphic artifact there. Clippy does not seem to know how to fix it, but you can scroll down and fix it. Yeah, I've reached the extent of the testing of Excel at this point. So moving right along, we're now going to each piece of software, and we're going to load up templates for each and every one. So here are the templates. I'm just going to pick like a letter or something. So right now we have a decently, I say, very simply formatted letter here. We have a header, we have a footer, we have a symbol from a certain font set. that predates emojis. Sounded better when I said it the first time, to be honest. So what I'm doing here is I'm just filling in some information so that when it gets over to the other piece of software, I can see how well it reproduced it. Now the Excel template is a little bit more wacky. It starts throwing a bunch of macro warnings at me. And again, this is for templates that Microsoft themselves created. It automatically has a system built in to safeguard against macro viruses. So it was a little scary at first because, I mean, this is really outdated software. And in theory, an old macro virus can still actually do some damage. For example, if you turn off Windows Defender, Love Letter, the old Love Letter virus, can render Windows 8 unbootable. I don't actually have a video of that, but, you know, it still works. I'm sure Danoct 1 did it at some point. But yeah, those old viruses can still do some damage. So finally we have it loaded up here, and this is what the invoice looks like. I was actually pretty impressed when I first saw this because holy crap, look at all this formatting. It doesn't look anything like an Excel spreadsheet anymore. It looks like an invoice, and it's one you can actually type into. Oh shit, I'm probably going to have to reload it. So this is it, reloaded with macros enabled. And there are cells, as you can see. There is a grid of cells on top of all of this, but it has it all hidden. And this is the first time I got it actually to work, and it never worked after that. And it kind of totals it up right at the bottom, and it works pretty nicely. Again, it requires macros to work. So if you wanted this to work on LibreOffice, good fucking luck. Oh my god. You can change the shipping charge and stuff, but as soon as I started getting too deep in here, it really started to break. And yeah, this stuff probably doesn't like running on Windows 10. But I mean, how often are you going to design something that's like FileMaker level in Excel? I didn't know anybody who did this. This is crazy. I didn't know this until now. This looks like this would be better done in some other software. So yeah, so here's our invoice. You can change different things on it. You can put the company logo in. You can add other products in there. If it actually worked consistently, I would have, you know, liked it more, but it doesn't. I'm just sort of clicking around, and then it really didn't like that. Yeah, it's eh. You can add a credit card and the expiration. And you can put in a little footer text there. I hope somebody at some point actually used this. So this is one of PowerPoint's preloaded templates. I think this is pretty fancy, definitely very professional, businessy. Like I can feel that I'm in a skyscraper at some sort of board meeting with the projector on, and everybody's wearing suits right now, and everybody's very high class and big money. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm feeling from this PowerPoint presentation right now. It's got this sort of marble green emerald thing. I see all these slides and word icons for whatever reason. So I think if anything's going to take advantage of PowerPoint stuff, it would probably be this presentation. Now, I totally forgot to do anything with transitions, but I don't see as that being a huge issue. But don't forget, company name, the company line. So now we're hitting the comparisons. This is the original thing I typed up, and I'm going to be comparing it to what it looks like in LibreOffice. Pretty much the same. It's using the same font. It looks pretty dang good with that, reproduced perfectly. But again, it's almost entirely unformatted text. I mean, it's formatted text, but it's, it didn't do anything special with it. So this is where things start to deviate. This is the original, and I'm switching back and forth between LibreOffice and the original. See, the title, the header, and the date are switching places. Not a good sign. Some Office purists probably would say, "Oh, clearly, LibreOffice is not reproducing this the Microsoft Word way." Now, I don't have a newer copy of Microsoft Word to see if that's actually true. It might fuck it up just as bad. I don't know. So now here's the real test. Does the most complicated Excel spreadsheet I've ever seen work in LibreOffice? And surprisingly, it actually looks pretty dang close. Not sure if you could still modify numbers here and have the totals at the bottom change. But it visually, at least, reproduced a lot of the page elements very closely. If you go back and forth here, you'll see that pretty much the main thing that's different is that the background isn't green, and that's about it. Everything else I think is where it needs to be, but it looks pretty good to me. Now here's the real test. This one has a little bit of personal past experience that I had. Reminds me of not perfectly rendering when I got to the school computer to do my presentation. I had actually done it was a report on nuclear power that I did, and I did it in Keynote, and I did an export to PowerPoint, and let's just say it didn't come out very good. But here you can see that it did not actually come out that great. Right now we're looking at the Office 97 version there. But when we switch over, we lose the gradient, we lose the white text, we still have the PNG with the logo on it, but that could be a deal breaker. What if, your color scheme didn't look too right, and then, you couldn't even read stuff? Happened to me, while making a presentation and ran out of time. Not a good thing. So that has been a frustration. So I wonder what would have happened if I had told my past self to use Office 97 instead. At that time period, I did have the CD, so I could have actually loaded that up and done it. I did have a copy of Parallels, too. I was using Macs at the time. I could have loaded that up in like a Windows 98 virtual machine and done something. But too little too late, I suppose. So here's a good simulation of what playing games at work would look like if you were in 1997. Play a little bit of Windquake. It would have to be Windquake. Couldn't play the DOS version of Quake and have multiple windows open at the same time. It'd probably be unlikely that you had this much screen real estate, but if you were one of the executives and you had a monitor that looked kind of like John Carmack's back in the day, then maybe you could pull something like this off. But if the boss came by, you could bring up some of this. It's like, oh yeah, I'm working on that letter right now. I'm just finishing up that invoice, and don't worry, I'll have the presentation ready by 9:30. So yeah, just you could goof off, and when the boss leaves, you just go right back to the game. So that's all the footage left. Thanks everybody for watching, and have a good one. Ah, shit!